Good morning. It's April 1st. Yeah, that's April Fool's Day. There's stuff going on right now that you'd think was a April Fool's Day prank. I wonder where April Fools got started. Um, but let me tell you what's happening. So about 6 months ago, I started teaching financial literacy at the ministry house, and and I'm teaching the very workshop one, and it was too advanced for the guys. And so I'm like, okay, I got to ratchet this back. But it caused me to do some research that I'd never, I found out not who created money, but who created the rules for money. Where it was this Mesopotamian king called Hammurabi, who died about 36 years before the birth of Abraham. So he wasn't, so he was one of the Nimrods. Gilgamesh, which was before Hammurabi, he was the one that built the Tower of Babel. Nimrod was kind of like a slang term for a king that defied God, okay? Or thought they were God, wanted to be God, wanted to challenge God, okay? So what happened was he, in these rules for money, he created a living wage. And what happened was it caused a whole bunch of people to come and join his army so they could get that living wage. And he created a larger army than his neighbors, which were larger countries. And he was actually orchestrating trade with, and he conquered them. But it was not like a brutal battle. Maybe there'd been some initial death with the resistance, but all they had to do is go and say, "Hey, listen, guys, join us, and you'll get this living wage." So everybody in these countries that they were annexing just joined him because they got the living wage, and he ruled in Mesopotamia, right? And then but you're learning about these things, and it's important for what's happening right now. Okay, so then I talked about so let's back up. This morning, you can't make this up, I'm reading in Genesis chapters 40 and 41, which is the story of Joseph. Joseph is in prison, and he interprets these dreams of the cupbearer and the baker of the Pharaoh. And the one dream is the guy's putting the cup back in the hand of the Pharaoh, and he's saying, "Yep, you're gonna go back, and you're gonna be back and serve the Pharaoh like you did before." And then Baker, his dream was interpreted that he was going to be, he's going to be executed by the Pharaoh, and that's exactly what in 3 days. It was going to happen for both of them in 3 days, right? And the guy that was the cupbearer, the Pharaoh had a dream. The king had a dream, and he had two dreams. One, and then one day, one the next day. But they were the same dream basically, and he was disturbed about it. Nobody could interpret it. And then the cupbearer's like, "Yeah, there's a guy that interpreted my dreams, and it happened exactly the way he said it did." So they went and got Joseph, and he interpreted the dream. And because he interpreted the dream, what it was is there was these 7 fat cows, and that then out of the ocean came these 7 skinny cows that devoured the fat cows, and um, and what it was is he said there was going to be 7 years of abundance and 7 years of famine, and because of that, the Pharaoh gave his ring, is the signet ring, which was used as the seal for like any documents or whatever he wrote, and Joseph managed Egypt from that point on, you know, and all right, so here we go. So what's just happened, right, is oil producing nations like Saudi Arabia, craziness, and Iran are now aligned, and Russia and Venezuela and even Mexico are all, and they're all gonna, used to be, when we went off in the United States, we went off under Nixon, we went off of the gold standard, all right? The what it became is the petrodollar. So I'm teaching at the house with these guys at the ministry house, right, about what had happened. Okay, we went off the gold standard, right? That didn't make like France very happy because we owed a lot of money to France. It allowed us to pay back our debt with dollars that were worth less than what we owed, which didn't, ticked off some people, right? and it's been going on ever since. We've been devaluing our currency because China's been devaluing their currency, and it's just been a race to the bottom. Trump took it all the way to the bottom. Okay. And now with the Fed raising interest rates, saying he's doing it to fight inflation, right? It's really trying to bring back the dollar, the value of the dollar. Okay. Well, the value of the dollar, which is, see, you gotta, it's, when they took us off the gold standard, they said it was based on the ability and of the American, and resourcefulness of the American people to produce. That's what it was based on. Okay, but that's not really the truth. The truth, it was based on the oil. That's why they called it the petrodollar. Okay, well, nobody knew until Trump came in office that we have more oil reserves in the United States than anywhere else in the world, right? And so with that said, okay, the so all what this government has done is restricted the production of oil on government land and the leases to drill oil, and making us more dependent on foreign oil, right? Now, all the other sources of foreign oil, and what that did is that brought up the value of oil in Ukraine, okay? And that's why Russia invaded. Well, it's part of the reason Russia invaded Ukraine. But Ukraine is the heart of the New World Order, Now, what's happened is in Ukraine with the war with Russia, they've disclosed some weaknesses in the Russian military. They're not as effective as the world was led to believe, other than they have a lot of nuclear arms. Okay, but you don't ever want them to go there. Okay, and so it's been a progressive. This war's been going on longer. Ukraine's done way better than everybody thought they would do. Okay, but why? Because Ukraine is using the U.S. resources, military resources, to fight Russia. So it's a proxy war. This is crazy. This is absolute craziness what's happening right now. Okay, the price of gas is up. It's going to go up even more here in the United States because of the restrictions that Saudi Arabia and all the other oil producers in Mexico. Now Mexico's not on our side in this battle. Okay, this is going to be crazy. Okay, the value of the dollar is tanking. All right, and what's going to happen? There's going to be a conversion to something else. Okay, and other than the dollar. All right, there are cryptocurrencies out there that are going to be based on hard assets like gold and silver, right? And they are going to be recognized probably everywhere. Okay, the government's going to want a fiat currency, something they can manipulate by. Why? Because we owe crazy amount of money. It's like over $30 trillion, right? It's like nutty how much money they owe, right? And so